I'm a 41-year-old male. I've been with my wife, Kelly, since college, and we have 3 girls together, 2 twins and a preemie. About 2 years ago, Kelly was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Her prognosis was relatively strong under the circumstances, but it was terrifying for our family. Kelly was very sick and had to go through chemotherapy as well as a hysterectomy. The good news is that she's in remission now, but the doctors are still monitoring her closely in case the cancer returns. I have an older brother named TJ who's extremely smart, successful, and fun, but he's also self-absorbed and makes rude comments frequently. I don't think he lacks the ability to filter his words. Rather, he doesn't have much empathy and doesn't care enough to stop and think before he speaks. I've let a lot of his comments go over the years because he's my brother, but something he said while Kelly was in the middle of her chemotherapy has stuck with me. My brother TJ has a son who's the same age as my oldest daughter, and he had a family birthday party for him while my wife was in the middle of chemo. My daughters wanted to go to the party, so I dropped them off and briefly stopped by to say hello. TJ is a heavy drinker and was intoxicated at this point and begged me to stay and have one drink. My mother-in-law was home with my wife, so I agreed to stay for one drink. TJ pulled me to the side and asked how Kelly was doing. I got a bit emotional and told him that she was very sick and it was hard for me to see her suffer. TJ told me he wasn't trying to sound harsh, but the best thing for everyone would be for her to die quickly instead of dragging it out. He said she didn't deserve to suffer, and that the girls and I wouldn't be able to move forward with our lives until she passed away. To be honest, I was flawed. I told my family that Kelly was very sick and that her life was at risk, but that her chances of survival were strong under the circumstances. I don't know if he wasn't listening or didn't care enough to remember, but I have no idea why he took it as a given that Kelly was dying. It was painful to hear him speak about this so flippantly, especially when my wife was fighting so hard to be around for me and our children. I should have told him right then and there that his comments sucked, but I was honestly exhausted and too hurt to do anything other than get back home to Kelly. My wife had enough on her plate, so I never told her about this conversation. Others, including my mom and Kelly, have noticed that I don't do things with TJ anymore and avoid him at family events. I've also noticed that my other brother, parents, and close friends supported our family during this time. They checked in regularly, watched our girls, visited Kelly in the hospital, and said yes to anything we needed. TJ did none of those things. He asked how she was at family events and called to see if I wanted to do the things we normally do together, i.e. golf. But aside from asking how Kelly was feeling, he didn't really acknowledge the situation. He even invited me to Vegas with some of his friends and their wives while Kelly was in the middle of her treatment, as though nothing was happening in my life. When I told him I couldn't leave Kelly while she was so sick, he said I deserved a break and that the trip wouldn't be fun without me. The girls spent the night at my mom's house over the weekend, and she asked me if I'd seen TJ recently. I said no, and she told me she'd noticed that I hadn't been spending much time with him lately. I asked my mom to keep it between us, but I repeated the conversation I had with TJ at my nephew's party and explained how hurtful it was at the time. My mom looked shocked and said it was a horrible thing for him to say. I told her I needed space from TJ, and she urged me to discuss it with him. She said that people deal with things differently and don't always know the right thing to say in these situations. I expressed that it felt like TJ didn't care about what Kelly was going through. He didn't even think about what to say or how he could help. I expressed that I don't see myself having a close relationship with him moving forward, and my mom said I should give him some grace, explain how I'm feeling, and give him a chance to apologize. I don't know if it makes me an idiot, but I'm not really interested in hearing what he has to say about it. Am I the idiot for not forgiving my brother for saying my wife should hurry up and die? Not the idiot. Your brother's comment was deeply insensitive and hurtful, especially during such a difficult time for your family. Understandably, you need space from him after what he said, and you're not obligated to forgive or reconcile. It's not your job to make others aware of their faux pas if they haven't asked why you don't spend time with them. But he's insanely smart. Really, it isn't about what you said, though that was horrible. What he said was just the worst example of his whole attitude towards your wife's illness, which is that it inconveniences him. That's the real problem. Sorry for your mom, but she's got to understand that at least one of her kids is an idiot. I'm exhausted from all these people saying to give grace in situations like this. Like their bad attitude is not the problem? No, absolutely not. What your brother said was gross and disrespectful to you, your wife, and your marriage. Take all the time you need away from him, and I'm sure you love your mother, but honestly, she can forget herself. Give grace. Where the heck is your grace? Just know, if he had an ounce of self-reflection, he would have called you and apologized. But you said so yourself, he's self-absorbed and rude. Stick with low contact and don't let anyone tell you differently. I, a teen female, just got married. My sister, Tara, who is 27, and I never had the best relationship. She's always been pretty insecure, and growing up, there was a lot of tension between us. I've always tried to be sensitive to it, but it's been hard because she tends to lash out in passive-aggressive ways. It got much worse when I got into a college that she didn't get into. At my wedding, I was mingling with the guests when Tara came up to me and told me that I would have looked better in red. It's an insult, basically saying the bride should be in red, that they're not pure enough to wear white. I told her, I get it, Tara, you're jealous and still a virgin, but this isn't the time to make your insecurities my problem. I didn't shout, but my tone was harsh. Tara stormed off, and I could tell some people overheard. My brother L told me I was out of line and should apologize for humiliating her in front of everyone. He's always been on her side. Really, it doesn't matter why. During my childhood, those two stuck together no matter what. I think he feels bad for her. Tara wanted an apology, and I was an idiot. My dad and mom told me she would have to get over it because this has been an ongoing issue. I may be a jerk because I was harsh with my comeback, but not the idiot. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Don't dish out what you can't take back in return. These are sayings for a reason. What's the alternative? Take up the rear and say, please, Mom, may I have another? What do they seriously expect you to do? Obviously, the bride was supposed to run off in shame and never again show her dishonest, harlot face in polite society. Then the crowd would cheer for the sister, proclaim her the purest, and hold a gallery in her honor, where the townsfolk would bring out their most eligible bachelors for her to choose a suitor from. LOL. She thought she was going to have a mean Disney princess moment, and she got served with something worse. OP, she essentially called you in front of those same guests, but you can't respond appropriately and firmly to defend yourself at your own wedding? I'm certainly glad your parents have your back on this, but I can't figure out for the life of me what your siblings' deal is. They seem to have an odd relationship with each other in any case. I hope your wedding day was beautiful outside of that. Good luck in your life together. I am my best friend's preteen daughter's Emma legal guardian. All of this was done through the courts. Emma's had a tough year. Her parents split up. Her stepdad, who's been in her life since she was a baby, left with her siblings and said he didn't want anything to do with her. Her best friend died, her grandma died, and she went to the hospital 4 times for 2 surgeries. Emma is also severely allergic to nuts. The nuts have been the cause of 2 of her hospital stays. There's no set visitation schedule. I let Emma see her mom whenever she wants. Usually, we have her over for dinner because my house is on her way home from work, and it means she can tuck Emma in at night. My friend recently had visitations with her other kids, so I've been bringing Emma over to see her siblings. Normally, I stay to help out, but I had to work last weekend, so I maybe stayed for half an hour and arranged for the babysitter to pick her up after a few hours. The babysitter called me when she picked her up to let me know they were on their way to the hospital. Emma was covered in hives and seemed like she was having trouble breathing. I called her mom on the way to the hospital, and she told me they were baking with almond flour while she gave Emma something else to do. The flour still got on her, and she had a reaction. She insisted it was fine, though, because she gave Emma her EpiPen. I hung up on her, called the babysitter to tell her Emma had been in contact with nuts over an hour before and had already used her EpiPen, and met them at the hospital. We stayed in the hospital for a couple of days, and her mom didn't even seem apologetic when she came to visit. She just swore that she didn't think that would happen. I asked her why she'd even have nuts in the house if her kid is allergic, and she said her younger kids really wanted to make macaroons, and she can't put one kid's needs over the other. She didn't think having nuts in the house was a big deal because Emma didn't even live there. I told her that was it. Emma will not step foot in her house again without a court order. She left after that. However, she hasn't stopped texting me to tell me to reconsider, and that I'm harming her recovery by keeping Emma away from her. She's still allowed to come over and meet us at the park, but I can't trust her to be unsupervised with Emma or that her house will be safe. Am I the idiot? Oh, please, you're harming her recovery, she says. That is BS. She physically hurt her daughter, requiring a multi-day hospital stay because her other kids wanted macaroons. What the heck is wrong with her? Emma's egg donor chose one kid's fun over one kid's life. Don't think she won't do it again. A broken heart is better than 6 feet under. Your friend sounds like a horrible person. That's the thing. Macaroons are such a random thing and they're not easy kid-friendly desserts to make. Are we sure the other kids requested them? Why not make whoopie pies? They are easier to make, look similar to macaroons, and have no ground almonds, so they won't kill one of your kids. Plus, assuming Emma's siblings are younger, I would have a hard time believing a preteen could make macaroons, let alone a younger kid. It's so suspicious. This woman does not have sound enough judgment to raise any children. The sad truth is that Emma's mother doesn't care about her. How a mother should. I know you want to protect her from the trauma of learning that fact. But keeping her safe and alive is more important. One day, she's going to have to come to terms with her mother's callous apathy. You can delay it, but you won't be able to protect her from the truth forever. All you can do is be there for her when it happens, the same way you would have been there for her all along. My teen female mom got married when I was a preteen to her husband. I have a stepsister the same age as me. Before high school, we never shared classes, but now we have 3 together. In one of them, our teacher always lets us choose who to partner with for projects. We also get a study buddy, as our teacher calls it. Basically, one Friday a month, we get a class where we pair up with our study buddy to study. Because we always get to choose, I always choose my best friend, and she always chooses me. We're study buddies and project partners every time we're in this class. My stepsister doesn't have any close friends and sometimes struggles to find project partners. On Friday, we were asked to choose a project partner to work with for the next 2 months on a big project our teacher wanted us to do in pairs. My best friend and I chose each other, like always. There were 4 kids left who had nobody to naturally pair up with, and my stepsister was one of them. She told the teacher she wanted me, but the teacher said I'd already chosen my project partner and that she had 3 other kids to choose from. My stepsister didn't want to work with her 3 choices, so the teacher asked if I'd swap partners for this project and work with my stepsister. I said no, and my best friend said no, too. She said we work really well together. When I got home after school and work on Friday, my mom was waiting for me. She pulled me into the office and asked me why I hadn't chosen my stepsister as my project partner. She said she knew I was asked and given the choice to change, and I wouldn't. She told me, after years of being sisters, I should have an equally close, if not closer, relationship with her than my best friend, who I met in pre-K. I shouldn't find it so easy to say no to my stepsister. I said I enjoy working with my best friend, and we work well together. I didn't want to change that or work with my stepsister. My mom took my phone all weekend as a consequence, and her husband told me like 10 times they expect us to put each other before any friendships because we're family. He told me the way I act, you'd think my best friend is my sister instead of my stepsister. My sister won't shut up about how sucky her partner is and how angry she is that I wouldn't partner with her. Am I the idiot? Your stepsister's lack of friends is not your problem. Your mom and stepdad are trying to force you to be best buds with your stepsis, and that is backfiring in a spectacular fashion. To be punished for working with someone in school that you like and trust, and not being willing to partner with your stepsister is just wrong. Try to make sure you get different classes next year if you can. Also, speak with the teacher or guidance counselor and see if they can help make this happen next year. And that's why she doesn't have friends. LOL. What happens when she gets a job? Oh, I'm sorry, manager. I can't possibly work on this project with Tim, Chloe, and Megan. I need my stepsister. Never mind, she probably works in a different field at a different company. Not the idiot your parents are if they think punishing you over this will make you want to spend time with your stepsister or prioritize her over an actual friend. I, a 28-year-old female, have been with my partner, a 32-year-old male, for almost 5 years. We built a life together. We live in the same apartment, share expenses, and are planning to get married at some point. He's been by my side through many major life moments and has become an important part of my family's life too. My parents and siblings know him well, and he's always been included in family holidays, dinners, and even trips. My younger sister, a 26-year-old female, is getting married in a few months. Initially, I was so excited for her when she first sent out her wedding invitations. My partner was included as my plus one, which I thought was totally normal given how long we've been together. He's been to plenty of family weddings and events, and everyone considers him part of the family. But last week, I got a call from my sister, and she told me that she's decided to change her wedding plans and uninvite my partner. She explained that she wanted to keep the wedding small and family only, and that he's technically not family yet since we're not married. I was shocked because this came completely out of nowhere. Everyone has always treated my partner like family, and I couldn't understand why he was suddenly being excluded from such a big event. I told her I didn't think it was fair. I tried to reason with her, but she was adamant. She said she wanted to simplify things and didn't want to explain to distant relatives why my boyfriend was there when we were just dating. I told her that we weren't just dating, and that our relationship was serious. I asked if her decision would be the same if we were engaged, and she said yes unless we were legally married. I was hurt and honestly felt like she was being really disrespectful to my relationship. I told her that if my partner wasn't invited, I didn't think I could attend. She got upset and accused me of trying to make her wedding about me and creating unnecessary drama. She said it was her big day, and I should respect her wishes. Now my parents are mad at me too. They're saying that I should suck it up, go to the wedding, and keep the peace because it's a once-in-a-lifetime event, and I should support my sister. I'm feeling really torn. On the one hand, I love my sister and want to be there for her. But on the other hand, I feel like it's unfair for her to exclude my partner after everything we've been through together. I don't want to go without him because it feels like a slap in the face to our relationship. My partner hasn't said much. He says he'll support whatever decision I make, but I can tell he's hurt, too. Am I being unreasonable for standing my ground and refusing to go without him? Am I the idiot for not attending the wedding now my parents are mad at me too? They're saying that I should suck it up, go to the wedding, and keep the peace because it's a once-in-a-lifetime event, and I should support my sister. This is just code for, they want the BS to go away and don't know how to handle the loudest idiot, your sister. So they want you to shoulder it. Don't go. It's completely disrespectful of her to uninvite anyone after inviting them. Tell her you aren't going, and she and your parents can suck it. Oh, and you'll try to make it to her next big day, right? I feel like the understanding party always gets treated like the problem. If OP would have said, you just freed up an invite for another family member, off the bat, I bet her sister would have changed her tune. They know it's not a once-in-a-lifetime event either. The sister could get divorced and remarried 5 times. The parents don't want to be embarrassed. Yeah, 3 years on, they might be divorced and married again. The sister is all of a sudden being holier than thou and judging the relationship because now she's getting married. So she and her judgy can see you later. Had this been a newer relationship or there were no future plans, or even if he wasn't invited from the beginning, I could see it. But because the sister decided to uninvite the invited, it shows she's just being a jerk. Your parents are mad at the wrong child.